Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to another Tea Time with Candace, Tools, Tips, and Techniques. So on this episode, we're going to be talking all about sergers. And I'm going to kind of chat right now while we're waiting for more people to log on. But I have a very special guest today, my first remote guest. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to bring on Sue Green-Baker, and we'll tell you a lot more about her when she comes on. So today, like I said, we're going to talk all about sergers. And sergers are definitely my passion, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. Hi from North Carolina. And then just to let you guys know, I have Marina on chat. So she's going to help me answer some questions that you have. And Deb, I think, is on chat. So I have two people who are going to be helping us out, answering any serger questions that you guys have. Okay. All right. So just to let you know what's going on for my lineup, my next show in 2 weeks, I'm going to have Debbie Ewing on. She's one of our amazing teachers here at Sewing Machines Plus. And she's going to be talking about working with challenging fabrics like cork and craft tech and faux leathers and things like that, and making bags, some tips for bag making and installing zippers and hardware and stuff like that. So that should be a really good show, and that'll be in 2 weeks. After that, I'm going to have another, what we're calling So What's New. With Deb, we're going to be doing some holiday ideas, make and take, and talking about new products that are on the market. So definitely tune in. Now you can find me and Blaine on our website. So I'm going to have David hop onto our event page. Yeah, right here. So if you click on classes and events, you can find Blaine's lineup and my lineup of our dates. So you can click on mine or Blaine. Click on Blaine or me. Okay, so there's mine, and it'll show you the dates and who's coming on. And then it'll have our previous shows. I think it only holds 3 or 4 of our previous shows, but I'm only up to number 4. So this will have today's show loaded on there after we're finished with the show. So you can see who's coming up. And just remember, everything's subject to change because we have different things going on. And sometimes we'll throw in a different teacher or a different show based on what's happening in our community and with our events. So a lot of people say, why do I need a serger? You know, sergers are difficult to use. They're hard to thread. You know, they're complicated. You know, why do I need a serger? And this show, we're going to feature the Babylock lineup of sergers. And if you have never used a Babylock, you're in for a treat. These are very easy sergers to use and very easy sergers to thread and change to do different stitches. A lot of people are terrified of sergers. And so I'll give you a little background about me. I first came to Sewing Machines Plus as a customer. I wanted a serger. I had previously bought a serger from another retailer and took it home, and it sat in a box. And it sat in a box for a very long time because I was terrified of it. And I just couldn't really figure it out. You know, there's too many moving parts. So when I came here, I know I wanted to buy a serger where I would get some help. And so that's why I first came to Sewing Machines Plus and purchased a serger and took a class. I bought a manual serger with manual controls, and I still struggled with tension. And I still struggled with, you know, what's a looper and just understanding everything. And so it wasn't until I purchased a Babylock serger that I fell in love with my serger and started using it. And I used it all the time. So the Babylock sergers are fantastic. And we're going to tell you all about the different types of sergers and what to look for if you're thinking of buying a serger. I refer to these as vehicles. You know, any car will get you to where you need to go. But what do you want in your car? Do you want it manual, standard? Do you want automatic windows, heated seats, navigation? You know, it's just like buying sergers and sewing machines. Different features will make the process better and more fun, and you'll fall in love with your machine. Because if you don't love it, you're not going to use it. So we definitely want you to fall in love with any of your machines. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring Sue on. My special guest is Sue Green Baker. She is a Babylock ambassador, and she's well known and loved in the industry as a Babylock expert. So Sue, are you there? We're going to come and say hi to you.
I'm here.
Hey, Sue.
Hello, everybody.
So I've been in several of Sue's classes. Like I said, before I ever worked here, I took your basic boot camp, used to be boot camp, serger, 3 days of serging, and learned all about my serger. You are just the excellent, excellent teacher, and love your classes. So Sue, tell us, how did you get started in the industry and with Babylock?
Well, that's kind of a story in itself. First serger I ever saw was in a dry cleaning establishment, and it was a little green one. I think it's a EA 605 or something like that. It's just a long time ago. Very funny looking little machine, and I saw it back there running, and a guy was mending something with it. And I asked him, I says, "What is that?" And he told me what it was and what it did, and showed me the stitch on it. And I says, "I should have one of those. Where'd you get that?" So he told me where he got it, and I bought one. And I paid, get this, $398 for it. So that tells you how long ago it was. It was in 1968 or something like that. Well, that's how I got started with it. And we had to build a relationship. It was very, very mechanical. It was extremely hard to thread. And the gentleman that sold it to me, he actually asked me if I had about 10 minutes that he could show me a few things. And of course, being the woman and the sewer that I think I am, I told him, I says, you know, I can put together a child's swing set. I think if it's got an instruction book, I can probably figure it out. So I said, I took a day off work to come over here and buy this. So I took off, and he didn't have the machine in stock. It had to be mailed to me. So it came in about a week, took it out of the box, threaded it up. It wouldn't sew right. So I figured he sold me a bad machine, of course, you know, it couldn't be me. And so I went back to his dealership, and he saw me come in, and he came over, he looked at, I told him, I says, either something's wrong with me or something's wrong with this machine, but I can't get it to work with the over edge and the chain stitch at the same time. So he opened the door and he looked inside. I'm leading up to something here. He opened the door and he looked inside, and he said, well, do you have that 10 minutes now? I can show you a couple of things. I was cross-threading it. Okay, I want to let everybody watching know how important it is to take the introductory classes to any machine you buy. When I bought my motorhome, I told the guy that I knew everything about it. I could drive a big truck, which I could. All right, I could ride a motorcycle by myself, had no problem. I said, I can figure it out. If he hadn't have insisted that I take the preliminary, this is how things work in this motorhome, I would have never found how to hook up my bathroom. The pipe, the drain pipe to it was inside the bumper. Like, you're going to look for it there. All right, take the introductory classes that are offered to you by the store. I don't care what machine it is that you buy. Introductory classes are very good. You might think you know everything, but you really don't. But that's how I got started with mine.
Go. So speaking of introductory classes, we are just now, for the month of October, going to offer all of our new owners machine classes. So anytime you purchase a machine from us locally in the store, we offer a how to use your machine. I don't teach you how to sew, but I teach you how to use your machine. a lot of stuff's on YouTube. You can find a lot of information, but if you have a local class, hands-on, there's nothing like hands-on. You know, hands-on is great. So I know you've been representing Babylock for a very long time. What made you choose Babylock over another brand?
Well, actually, the main reason I chose Babylock, at that point, they were the only ones that I thought were out there. You didn't have a big choice. A lot of the companies, the major machine companies, did not have sergers. And Babylock, as far as I know, Babylock and Juki were the first ones that actually had a serger out there. And this guy had them, and he knew how to use them. So I thought, well, that's a pretty good chance for me to actually learn to work it. Plus, I had the guy at the dry cleaners. I worked in a little fabric store that was right next door, almost adjoining with the dry cleaners. When I had a problem, I could run over next door and say, how do you do this? How do you do that? And he would help me. But Babylock was the dominant one out there. And that was the reason that I bought a Babylock. And now I'd laugh and tell ladies, I says, I have Babylock tattooed across my forehead. I love the Babylock machines.
You do. You do have Babylock tattooed on your forehead. Babylock is just great. I just love the Babylock sergers. But a lot of sergers, they all kind of do similar things. And so I'm going to go through and talk about the different types of sergers and what to look for if you're buying a serger or if you're considering a serger. Personally, I think everyone should own a serger because there's sometime in your sewing, project that you're going to want to finish the edges, or you're going to want to construct something, or you're going to want to do something decorative. So sergers are just fantastic. So let's first of all talk about the two types of sergers. So I'm going to go ahead and do a photo, kind of a little bit of a close-up of these two sergers. And we should probably we'll talk about the whole Babylock lineup as we go along. But these two sergers, you'll notice these are called, this one is the brand new Babylock Vibrant. I believe it's pretty new. And this is a manual threader. And what that means is that the loopers, these are your loopers, are threaded manually. So you have to take your thread and walk it through the path and everything. For some sergers, that's easy. For other sergers, it's extremely complicated. So this is called a manual threading machine. This one uses air threading technology. So this is like our first level air technology. It's a pump. You're going to pump this air threader, and it blows the thread through, and it will thread your loopers. So on a sewing machine, you have needle and bobbins to form a stitch. On a serger, you have needles and loopers, an upper looper and a lower looper. And those form a stitch around the edge of your fabric. So you have one or two needles and two loopers, and you can do all kinds of different things, okay? So these are called manual threaders, and this is an air threader. You have a couple different types of air threader. Now this is a brand new Acclaim that Babylock brought out this last year. And on this one, it uses a different type of air threading system. But you're just going to put it in threading. We'll lock our tubes. We'll push a button, and it'll still blow the threads through to the loopers, the eye of the needles on the loopers. So it's still an air threading system. And yes, hey Jan, how are you? Jan just bought a new serger. You bought the new Triumph, I think it was last year. And air threading just makes your life so much better. It's kind of like an automatic car versus a standard car or manual car. I mean, it is just going to completely change your life using air threaders. And there's other brands out there that do now have air threaders. Babylock had the patent on air threaders for a long time. And when that ran out, other companies were able to jump on and offer air threaders. So these are the two types of threading, manual versus air. So Sue, have you found the difference with that to be amazing?
It's very amazing. The original sergers, like I say, with the air threadings, were pumps, and it was easy to do. You just push the lever down, and it blew a blast of air through the air tubes and blew the thread through. And I thought, how wonderful is that? In fact, I even wondered at one time, how could they make it any better? Well, putting a motor on it made it better, and you don't have to pump as hard. But like she said, the patent ran out on the one that was the pump. I don't know if it ran out on the motorized one yet. And I do know there is one machine out there that does have the air pump, but that's 20-year-old technology. Babylock has had these air pumps for a long time, and they retired the pump for the motor, which made things a lot easier. And technically, you can thread, if you have an 8-thread machine, you have 3 loopers, you can thread all 3 of them at the same time.
So
put it in there.
We had a question about changing thread. So this is kind of a personal preference. There's a lot of people that have manual threading machines that they kind of just leave a general color in there, like a gray or, you know, an off-white. And they do the majority of their sewing without changing the thread colors. I have an air threader, so it's so easy to change my thread colors that I change it often. Depending on whatever project I'm doing, I do change my threads very often. So it's kind of a personal preference. Most serging is done on the inside of a garment, right, where you're not going to see the seams. So let's see here. This is done with black. Oh, we can get in there. But I've got black in here, and you're not going to see it. So a lot of times you don't see the threads, so you don't necessarily need to change it. But like I said, with the new threaders, the air threaders, I do change them a lot. If you ever do change your threads, the 2 threads that would show the most are your needle threads. So those threads you could try to match to whatever garment you're sewing or whatever fabric you're using. Would be your needle threads. So anytime I purchase thread, I always try to buy 2 of the same color. So that's my 2 cents on that. What do you think about that, Sue?
Okay, I changed the thread on mine. Technically, I can thread my sewing machine and wind a bobbin. I can actually thread my serger faster than you can do that. Mm-hmm. And so why not change your thread? You can, in a pinch, do what I call blending. And again, just like Candace said, you need to match your needle threads to the color of your fabric. And the same rules apply for a serger in matching the color that it does on a sewing machine. But I actually thread mine. And please don't ask me in a class if you can tie the threads on and pull them through. It's like pushing your car to the grocery store. You know, you got an air threader, it blows it through.
So a lot of people tie their threads on and pull them through. That is for a manual threader. Those knots aren't going to go through your air threading system, and you don't need it. It's so fast and easy. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do that. Someone has a question, Laura, about flat locking. Absolutely. You can do flat locking on a serger, 3-thread flat lock. Looks fantastic. It's a great way to sew sportswear or embellish something like on a sweatshirt. You could do a seam, princess seam flat locked, or down the side of your joggers flat locked. It looks really, really good. And I'll kind of show you a little bit more about that. I'm going to do a quick demo at the end. So let's talk about some more about these machines. So we talked about manual and air threading your loopers. Now let's talk about tension. So let's come back down to these machines here. So I've got these 2 machines. And as you see, these are manual tensions. You have dials. Those control every thread that goes through your machine. Okay, same with this. So I've got a lower looper, upper looper, right needle, and left needle. I physically have to control my thread tension for every stitch I make or for every type of fabric I use. The other type is the auto tension, and we're going to put a camera on that in a sec. So let's talk about what auto tension is. So see here, I have no controls, but I control it here on the side. I have this ABCD switch, and what that does is it tightens and changes the tension within these discs. So auto tension, what that means is that regardless of the fabric I put under this machine, it will adjust the amount of thread needed to form a beautiful stitch. And this just makes life so much easier having auto tension. So you have on this machine, you have air threading and auto tension. And like I said, this makes life so great. And I don't have to change my tension every time I use a different type of fabric. I can make some adjustments, but most of the time I don't need to. So those are the two different types of tension control. You have auto versus manual. And the bigger machines, we're really used to the auto tension. I love auto tension, but you also can do precision with the manual dials. You know, you can get very, very precise. You can also get pretty precise on these auto tension. There's some additional features you can use to tighten the loopers or the needle threads. So Sue, I'll turn it back to you if you want to talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, tensions. I at one time taught a class that was called Taking the Tension Out of Tensions. Taking the tension out of tensions. Okay, there is a formula for doing the tensions that are manual, but it's so nice to have the automatic one. And like Candace said, there is an override feature on the Triumph and a couple of other models that you can actually turn a little dial and it controls the looper tension. So for thicker or thinner fabric, or if you ever see the edge of your serger stitch hanging off the edge of the fabric and you have automatic tension, your first thought is, what in the world do I do? It's automatic tension. I don't have dials. Well, you do have a dial. And it was that one that she pointed at when she opened the door. There's a little dial down there that you can plus or minus, and you can fine tune the automatic tension. Nobody else has that. Okay, Candace, back to you. Maybe I should sing you a song. Okay, but tensions are the lifeblood of these machines.
Tensions are, and I'll just tell you, sorry, we're moving the set around. That was my problem I had when I had a manual machine. It's like I just couldn't understand how to adjust which looper, which needle did I need to adjust to fix my stitch. It was just kind of confusing to me. So I chalk it up to my dyslexic brain, but you know, the more now that I've learned it, I understand it. But the auto tension just took all of that away. I asked a teacher one time, how do I get rid of this tension issues? She said, buy a Babylock. I said, okay, and I did. So that's what I did. Do you need special serger thread? Kathy, great question. You're going to want to use serger thread with your sergers. It's a 2-ply thread. It's meant to be used with sergers. It's not meant to be used on a sewing machine. It's not strong enough for a sewing machine, but it's perfect for a serger. However, you can also use sewing thread, regular sewing thread on a serger. You can also use specialty thread, which is a lot of fun. And I'm going to show you a little bit about using specialty thread. You can use all kinds of yarn and heavy decorative threads in your loopers and create some really fun stuff. Napkins, placemats. I did a bunch of burp cloths. You can do all kinds of fun edge work with decorative threads. So hopefully that answered your question. So I'm going to go through and just kind of talk a little bit about the Babylock lineup of sergers. Now, some of these you can buy on our website. Others you have to go into a local Babylock dealer. So the first two we already showed, that was the Vibrant and the Celebrate. The other machine that is on the market is the Victory. So we're going to pull that one up on our website. So this is the Victory, and the Victory is the first machine in our lineup of auto tension and air threading the loopers. So great little machine. As you see, the price point goes up for these features, just like on a car. These are, it's technology, and you're just getting an amazing machine that has this different technology. And every time you add a feature, the price goes up. Just like I said, just like on a car, I want my navigation system, the price is going to go up. I want my heated seats, the price is going to go up. So it's the same thing with the sergers. So the next machine in the lineup was the Acclaim, which I had up here. And then this is the first machine that is a combination machine. So we're going to talk about that now, combination machines. So we can go ahead and come back to. So this is an 8-thread combination machine. This is 2 machines in one. This is a serger or an overlock machine. It's the same word. We just use it interchangeably. And it's a cover hem machine. What is cover hem? It's hemming the edge of your project. And I'll show you that a little bit. If you have a t-shirt, turn over your t-shirt. You'll see it has 2 stitches and a zigzag on the back. That is a cover hem. And that's for hemming. And really, if you're going to do garments, you need both machines. So let's talk about the difference with these 2 machines. Like I said, this is a combination machine. If you want to buy them separately, you would buy the Acclaim, and then you would buy a cover hem only machine. And I have one of those online. Babylock just came out with a brand new machine, cover hem only, called the Euphoria. And the Euphoria is so new that I think, Sue, you have ours. This is a cover hem only, beautiful machine, air threading. And it has a lot of space. You can see the throat space is really big, and that allows you to sew on the top of your fabric or in the middle of your fabric. You can do cover stitching, you can do chain stitching, and you can do a lot of decorative work with the cover hem machine. So the idea is either a combination machine or 2 separate machines. So there's some benefit to both. Combination machines are great if you have a small sewing space. It's easy to convert them from a serger to a cover lock, and I'll show you guys how to do that. And like I said, if you only have so much space in your sewing room, a combination machine is great. Standalone machines are really nice because you don't have to convert. Sometimes you need to serge and then cover stitch and then serge and then cover stitch. So it's good to have 2 separate machines. Personally, I want 2 Triumphs, one set up for cover, one set up for serger, but that's just, a dream there. I may end up purchasing the Euphoria because I do want a separate machine because I use it a lot and I sew a lot. So having 2 separate machines is great. The thing about a combination machine is it can do other stitches the separate machines can't do. So this, you can combine up to 8 threads and combine stitches to do all kinds of decorative work. And so these machines are very technical. There's so much you can do that we have an entire event dedicated just to learning about these machines. And so let's talk about your upcoming event, Sue. And so this is our Sue Greenbaker event. We're going to be doing the end of the month, and it is designed for the 8-thread combination machines. So if you go to our website, you can find it. So right here's our basic class, and that's for the new owners. And then we have an advanced class that is for those that have already know how to thread your machine. You can jump into the advanced class, or if you've already taken one of Sue's basic classes, you can jump into the advanced class. So let's kind of click on that and just let you know the dates. And then Sue's going to talk more about it. So this class is going to be both virtual and in our retail stores. So if you live close to us, definitely come in, and we will be able to give you hands-on experience and help. And you'll be able to use some of our machines. If you don't have a Triumph, you want to test drive it, you can definitely come in and use our machine. So this is October 22nd through the 24th. It's 3 days. So the same thing with our advanced class. Let's look at the dates on there. So for the advanced class, this one is going to be the 29th through the 31st. Again, virtual and in our retail stores. If you're within driving distance or you want to make a road trip, this is a great event to do that. You know, make a road trip. San Diego is a great place to visit. And you can spend 3 days with us in one of our stores and have this training live or with help from our staff and interaction with Sue. So you want to talk about these events, Sue?
Sure do. I'll wait till it gets me up there.
Okay, so let's go to Sue.
There we are. All right, I'm going to show you some of the things that you get during the class. This book right here is for our basic workbook. Look at how many pages is in this thing. When I do a class, I give everybody a step-by-step workbook with color pages in them. And so everything that you do is stepped out here in easy to read steps. This book has almost 100 pages. I think it's got 98. Okay, that's part of what the kit fee is. This one is the advanced class, and I actually have enough stuff to do 2 advanced classes, but I only have this one available at this point. And this is, again, for the 8-thread machines. So is the other one for the 8-thread machines. But this one takes you step by step through some advanced things that are not in the basic. There's no repeats in here. And I try to do complete step by step. So this is one of the things you get. When you sign up for the class, you get this little packet right here. And it has a USB stick in it, and it has 2 labels in it. The labels are to label your machine so you know which is stitch width, stitch length, which is differential feed. I probably got one of them upside down. No, which is differential feed, which is your tension, what tension controls what thread. So you get these stickers to put on your machine. That comes with the class. We also go over things. There's a thing that I've done here that Babylock doesn't even know I've done. This is a enlarged threading charts. This all comes on the USB stick. Everything I'm showing you will be on that USB stick. Okay, I took this big chart that they have, which is a good chart, but I don't know about you. I notice that a lot of my students have glasses, and it's a little hard to see sometimes when there's this many charts on here to see exactly what they're doing to thread. They're like, what? I don't understand what that is in there. Okay, so I had that problem. So what I did, I took this chart and I took each little section of that chart, each little chart itself, and I enlarged it to an 8.5 or 8.5 by whatever, 11, what is it? Anyway, whatever the biggest sheet of standard paper is. That's too minor for me to have to remember. So I enlarged all these threading charts so you can see where each thread goes and even the settings up here. I did that with every one of those. And if you get to a page that has something circled in red on it, let's see if I can find one for you. Should have put a little tag on it. Oh, there's one right there. If you see something circled in red, see this center one right here? I tell you what's in that circle down here in this yellow box. So it says, look closely because your threads are being threaded differently. So anytime you see a red circle on something, the explanation of what's in that red circle is at the bottom of the page. I also put down the side of the page the name of the stitch. Now, when you download this file and print it out, there are no page numbers on the bottom down here. I did that on purpose so that you can put your book together in the order that you use the charts the most. And I even color coded them too, so that you can put them in there. Red means you probably won't use it very much, and the green means you'll use it a lot, and yellow means that you'll use it probably some. In fact, this one, and I redid it, I took that color coding out because everybody used different stitches for different things. But this comes on that USB stick. Also, I have other things here. This is a single sheet. This comes in there. It tells you what you need in your sewing little box. It says what you need to have available for the class, what you need to bring with you. Okay. This is just something I threw in. I put together a little cheat sheet of the most commonly used stitches, the ones that people use the most. And I have the settings on here for you. So you can just pick up your cheat sheet and say, okay, that's how I do a 3-thread. And this is how you set it up. I also have a setting up your workbook file. It tells you how to go out and use Adobe Acrobat Reader if you don't have it, how to download it, and how to print out your book. And I do want to point out, yes, this has all color pages. The big 100-page workbook is all color pages. If you print it in black and white, you will lose all of the color coding information in there. I'll mention the red thread is doing so-and-so. Well, if you print it in black and white, it's not a red thread. People have a tendency to want to go to Kinko's or somewhere and print their workbook. They'll charge you $1 a page. Don't do that. Print it on your home computer. It's only 100 pages. I also have people, oh, it uses so much ink. 100 pages to a computer nowadays is nothing. You can go to Costco and Sam's Club and buy a color printer for like $70 if you want to not use your own computer. It doesn't use that much ink. And anybody that tells me, oh, I printed out your workbook and it used up all my ink. No, your ink was almost used up to start with. It didn't use up all your ink. Print it in what's called draft mode. And if you don't know how to do that, ask your grandkids. They'll know how to do it. Okay, but really print it in draft mode. I can't really see a major difference in printing it with less ink than with the maximum amount of ink. But I do recommend that you print it at home. This is another one that you get, and we're going to do some of this stuff today. This one is just called Sue's Favorite Stuff and Things. I love notions, and every time I go to San Diego, by the way, I live in Northern California. I live between Sacramento and San Francisco, right in the middle. And yes, we are close to the fires. I don't know about you down there. I had to break and run the other day. But this one is just my favorite sewing things. And every time I go to San Diego, I end up browsing that wall. I just love all those notions. I used to do a newsletter called In the Notion, and I would showcase notions. Don't have time for that now. Maybe later. This one says how to set up your machine before you come to class. All this stuff I'm showing is all on there.
Okay. So Sue, I just want to mention, you talked about your favorite things. Mm-hmm. We have put together a link on our website, and it's called Sue's Favorite Things. And I've added a couple of my favorite things too. And it's kind of like a shopping list you can use. We're doing some special discounts on that. So David, if you want to pop that up and show people where to find that link. So this link is on there for you to reference. These are, like I said, some of Sue's favorite things. Also, if you live far away, we realize that a lot of you don't live close. It's not a good time to do a road trip. This class is virtual, okay? So we will ship you the kit and the USB stick, and you're going to sit in your home with your machine, your Babylock 8-thread machine, and watch Sue and follow along with the class from your home. So the only requirement is you have to have an 8-thread serger to take the class. So there's 4 8-thread sergers on the market right now. There's the Triumph, the Ovation, the Evolution, and the Accolade. So there's 4 different sergers. If you happen to have one of those, definitely take this class. You're going to learn everything you need to know about this machine and how to convert it, how to do all kinds of stitches using some of the feet and guides. And so you're just going to learn a ton of stuff. If you don't have one of these machines, contact your local Babylock dealer and see if you can purchase a machine from your local store. The machines we have on our website to purchase are only 4-thread machines. So we don't, Babylock's restricted the purchasing of the 8-thread machines, and some of the other machines have to be sold at a local dealer. Okay. So Sue, were there any other questions? Let's see if there's any other questions about the event coming up. So anything?
A lot of information.
You do. You get so much.
Yeah. And also, I didn't mention, you also get the fabrics that you use to make your samples with. You come in a little packet. So you get all the fabrics to make your samples. You get the USB stick with all of the written material on it that I had here. And you also get the labels to put on your machine. And you also get the fabric packet that has all the fabrics in order in the packet. And it's marked on the page in your workbook as to what fabric you use. This page right here, right at the top in this little yellow box up here, it says that you're going to use one piece of 4x8 muslin, and that's what will be coming up in your packet at that time you get to this area in your workbook. So it's real easy to do. Been doing it a long time. We have everything pretty well smoothed out. It all works. And so I'd love to be able to teach you virtually. And I don't think I'm going to be able to see you if you're in the store. I won't be able to see you if you're not in the store either. I can't look at everybody because the classes fill up fairly quick. I can't answer questions for hundreds and hundreds of people. So we do have people that will answer questions, just like we do with this event right now. Okay, Candace, back to you.
Okay. We did have a question about the Acclaim. If you do own the Acclaim, if that's acceptable for the class. The answer is yes and no. So here's the situation. All of the books and the workbooks and everything that Sue's going to talk about is designed for the 8-thread serger. Now, most of the threading is the same on the Acclaim, but if you don't have the separate cover stitch machine, that's like the 3rd day of class. So I don't know if it would be beneficial for you because you want all 3 classes. So it's 3 days, and it's designed and written for the 8-thread combination machines. So hopefully I answered that question. You can also call us in our retail store and ask us any other questions about it. As far as the USBs and the kits, I'll have those available right away, Jan, for you guys to pick up locally. You'll be able to pick those up probably starting Monday. And everyone else, I'll ship those out on Monday. So I'm going to be on chat during this event, and I'll also be in the classroom helping. So these are the machines I teach. And so between the help you're going to get in the classroom and the help that we're going to have with Sue, you're just going to learn a lot about these machines. So I'm going to go ahead and do some demos for you, and I'm going to show you some things that these sergers can do. So I'm going to pop down here to my little camera and show you some fun decorative threads that this machine can do. First of all, I put in the zipper with my serger. I just serged it on, and I can show you that. And these are using some decorative threads. This is a rolled hem. This is a wave stitch. It's like a waved rolled hem. It's exclusive to Babylock. But rolled hems are just really, really fun. This is using some decorative thread, a 3-thread. So we made this little pouch in one of our classes. This was another class that was done using decorative threads. And this, you can see, it's almost like quilting. This is chain stitching on the cover hem machine with the decorative thread in the lower looper, the chain looper. So a lot of fun. For some of you quilters, like I said, this whole thing was put together with a serger. You know, we talk about using sergers for knits, but actually anything that frays, sergers are fantastic for cleaning up all the edges of the fray fabric. In fact, a lot of times I'll serge my cottons before I throw them into the washing machine because they fray everywhere. So sergers are great for a lot of different applications. So I'm going to come down here. This is the Triumph, and I'm going to use the Triumph and do a couple little quick demos for you.
Sorry for a little bit.
Okay, I think you're okay.
So a lot of you are serging and you want to put on, let's say, a neckline. So here we're going to pretend this is our neckline and this is the band. You can see I'm using clips. These are part of Sue's favorite things. And we don't usually use pins on a serger. We use clips. Are we good? So all I'm going to do is lift up my presser foot. I'm going to put my fabric in way before the needles. You can see how far that is. And we're going to put it up to the blade. So every machine has a blade. It has a stitch length and a width and the differential feed. Oops, all right, I'm sewing sideways, so this should be fun. So I've just put on a 4-thread overlock. And here I've just put on my neckband for my shirt. And I'm going to top stitch this or cover stitch this when I convert my machine. I'm going to do a cuff real quick. And to do a cuff, we're going to sew up each side. I see that there is a cutter back here, but I usually bring my fabric to the front and cut it. So we're going to pretend this is a sleeve. And so you see how fast it is to sew with a serger? I mean, cutting your fabric out is the most time-consuming part. Serging is super fast. So let's say this is my sleeve, and here's my band. So I'm going to fold my band in half. Maybe.
So done today.
Huh?
She's laughing at herself. It's good.
And again, I use clips. Now, if I'm doing this at home, and then you can see that I'm going to put this in on the down in the inside, because on sergers we sew in a circle a lot, and so I'm going to match up my seams. And like I said, at home I would do this all nice and neat, but this is just kind of giving you an idea. And then you're going to half it and half it and half it, just like you would putting in any band. These are almost the same size, so there's not a ton of stretching. But most of the time your bands are a little bit smaller. Whoops, lost it. All right, so this is how you sew on a band. You're going to sew on the inside. I don't know, you got the other view, David? So you're sewing in the inside. On a sewing machine, you'd put it like this. But on a serger, I'm going to put it like this and sew around the inside. There's a couple different techniques for this I'm not going to get into, but just kind of showing you how to put on a band. The nice thing also with this serger is it has a speed control. Sometimes we step on the gas a little too fast. And so being able to slow my machine down and do very precise work is really great. So I'm coming back to my original stitch, and I know I need to cut a little of that off. So when I get to a point, I'm going to lock my knife and clean up the edge. Then I run it off, and I don't know if you saw that, but this gives me a clean edge. There's no runoff, there's no loops hanging over. I stop the machine, take the fabric out, and then run it off. And then I have my sleeve and my cuff. So quick little demo on that. With this machine, to convert this to a 3-thread, all I have to do is remove a needle and cut the thread. So I'm going to cut my left needle, run out the thread until I don't see it anymore. I like to open my machine when I take out the needles just to give me more space. But I'm just going to use my little wrench, take out my needle. And now I just have to use my control that's going to control my tension discs. And I'm going to put it down to B, and that's for a 3-thread overlock. So I locked my knife. I'll put my knife back up. Now, if I wanted to convert this to a rolled hem, all I have to do is move my tension disc and move my length to rolled hem. And now I have a rolled hem. So this was a 3-thread edge. I needed to adjust it a little bit. Now I have a rolled hem. So very, very easy to convert this. Someone asked me about the flat lock. This is a flat lock stitch where you sew it and then you pull your fabric apart and it lays flat here. So some of you asked about putting in a zipper. Putting in a zipper is really easy on a serger. You just have to make sure that you have a long enough zipper. Okay, right, I've got right sides together. And I could just put this under here and serge. But with the Babylocks, they come with all kinds of feet. And this is a piping foot, a cording foot. So I'm going to run my zipper teeth right through this channel. And this is just like a sewing machine. Pop on the feet. Maybe. Okay, let's put this zipper in super quick. So I'm going to move my knife as far out of the way as I can so that I can run my teeth right along that groove in there. And I'm going to put this back to a 3-thread with a stitch length about 3. Put that back on B. And so as long as I run that right through that channel, so I get to the end, I stop, I lift up my machine, lift up my needle, get that out of the way, and sew it out. So you can see I trimmed off a little bit of the zipper because I wanted my teeth to run along that groove. But there, I've just put in a zipper on a serger. Super, super easy. Okay, I'm going to convert this machine to a cover stitch machine. So while I'm doing that, Sue, do you want to chat in on anything I've talked about?
Yes, I do. I think that's great.
Okay.
Everything that you showed you there, you're going to do in either the basic class or the advanced class that I teach online. And you'll actually make it along with me. Here in front of me, I have a set of stitches I want to show you. this set right here, see, I got them clipped together with a great big clip. This set right here is what a basic 4-thread machine does. These are the stitches. There's a lot of stitches there. There's a lot of stitches. Okay, this is the cover hem. This is the multi-needle machine, not necessarily cover hem. It's the multi-needle machine. The one that can sew with 5 threads, we call it the 8-thread machine. You can actually sew with 8. Okay, the big machine with the Triumph, this will sew everything that's here. You get all these stitches. Babylock claims they have like 98 stitches or something like that. And it's just a matter of length, width, combination of how many needles. Yes, you can sew with 8 threads and 5 needles at the same time. So before you raise your hand and start chatting and wanting to know what do you use that for, it's mainly decorative. And I just say that it does it because it can. You can actually put all 5 needles in the machine. But she's converting to a cover hem. You can do a multitude of things with cover hem. And I am entertaining the thought of just doing a cover hem class, which would take the 8-thread machines. And by the way, 8-thread machine, of those of you out there that still have the Evolve, you can also take that class. So there's technically, very first one out there with the 8-thread was the Evolve. You can take the 8-thread class, the virtual class online, and you can come into the store with it too. It's a very good machine. It's not as many features on it or as many easy things to do on it, but it's still a very good machine. And she's getting it all set up there. I hope you're watching a little bit of what she's doing, because it really isn't that difficult. I do have a cover hem machine, and as she mentioned very under her breath, I even have the only cover hem machine their store had. I have the new one. Okay, the new one has a lot of features that the basic one, Babylock's only made 2. They made the basic one, and then they made the new one. And mine, the older one that I used, I had to turn tension dials. I had a small open space to the right of the needle. I didn't have air threading. It had a pump for motorized threading. It had a pump on the bottom for the looper. So really, the new one has a lot more features, and it even sews faster. It sews 300 stitches a minute more than the other one does. Doesn't sound like much, but it is a lot. So it sews faster, has a bigger space on the right-hand side of the needle, has the tensions that are automatic instead of turning the dials. I didn't write everything down, but there's quite a few different features on it. And great machines. I do have both, and it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing what I call a marathon of t-shirts, if I'm doing a lot of them like the blue one that I've got on, and it's all blue, I will change the needle thread color to match the fabric, and I will keep the looper threads more of a basic. She's getting down there now to the point of threading her needles. I was going to watch and see if she does the air.
Yeah, I'm going to use the air threader.
Yeah. Are you going to show them up
So
how to do the air threader? There you go.
I'm using the air threader. Yep. Oh. Hold on one second. Let me get my needles up. There we go. All right, we'll try that again. Oops. This threads your needles. So for any of you guys that are blind like me, this is fantastic. You have an air threading needles. You can air thread all of them, all 5, up to all 5 needles. Let me do this one real quick. I know I didn't get the catch back there since I can't see. All right, let me show you that again. Now I threaded this one by air, so hopefully you saw that. I'm going to bring down my air threading needle guide here. And all I have to do is put the tip of the thread close to the needle eye. And it just sucks it in there. And we're done. All right, we're all threaded and we're converted. So I just converted it while Sue was talking to a cover hem. Now, if you're wondering where the cover hem chain looper is, it's in this little box right here. Okay, let's see what I did. So I'm doing a 2-thread. I almost always do a 2-thread This controls my chain looper tension. This controls my needle tension. So anytime you're using a different fabric, you're always going to test. Other than be a little wonky, it looks good. So there you go. Cover stitch, 2 threads on the top, zigzag on the bottom, or I like to do it even in reverse and do the zigzag on the top and make it even three needles. So I'm going to go ahead and cover stitch my neckline. And I'll tell you, this takes practice. I have one of my students, no names mentioned, she was an avid quilter, and after taking my classes, she now sews all her own garments. And in the beginning, I think she even paid me once to do her neckline. She's like, I just can't get it. And now she's a pro at it. I said, it just takes practice. You have to do it over and over till you get it just perfect. So when you're cover stitching, you can't see what's going on underneath. So you're going to use different guides to help you. Not totally perfect, but there you go. Now I've cover stitched my neckline. I could do it closer. I could move my fabric. Doesn't really matter. And then to convert this to a chain stitch, all I'm going to do is take out a needle. And sergers make an absolute mess. So you want to get a really good lint brush or like the vacuum attachments, and I'll kind of show you that. Also, we have a tray that this can sit on, and all of the droppings can fall down into the tray. So, like I said, sergers are a little bit messy. So chain stitching is just almost like sewing. But what's fun is I could almost do quilting. I could do some, so see, it's got the chain stitch on the back. You got that? And a single stitch looks just like a sewing machine on the top. Now this is not a strong stitch, so you don't want to sew with it, construction. This is more for decorative work. Or doing a chain stitch and an overlock stitch. That's what you would find on your blue jeans. If you looked inside your blue jeans, that's a combination of a overlock and a chain stitch. Okay, what do you think about all that, Sue?
I think that's great.
I'm going to clean up my mess.
I've got one thing. I got one thing that I want to add. And my students love this. In fact, it was a student that showed me how to do it. When she was top stitching the ribbing that she put around here, it does take practice to get that straight. I'll tell you that right off. But the trick that my student showed me, she liked to have hers top stitch, one on this side of the ribbing and one on the ribbing. Okay, to do that and get it straight, that's extremely hard to do if you're not real adapt to your serger and how it stitches. So what she did a 2-thread cover hem, but she put all 3 needles in the machine, all 3 cover hem needles. She threaded number 1 and number 3. She didn't thread number 2. She used number 2 to run in the well of the seam so that the other one of them would sew on the outside, one of them would sew on the inside. And it kept the spacing perfect all the way around because she kept that center needle, the empty one, sewing in the ditch. And it works great. Also, whenever you start and begin that type of top stitching, make sure you start and begin in an inconspicuous place. If you do sleeves, you want to start at the underarm. If you do necklines, you want to start basically at a shoulder seam is better than the center back. If you do a waistline, you want to start at a side seam. If you do a hem on your shirt, at a side seam. Pants, the bottom of the cuff on the end seam. Think about where you're going to begin and end your cover hem. And you want it to be in a place that's inconspicuous in case you don't quite line up. And you know what? Ready to wear doesn't quite line up either, a lot of times. Okay, Candace. Maybe
I think he's unmuted. So I'll tell you what, ready to wear, if you start looking at ready to wear, you're correct. A lot of times they don't line up. There's threads hanging out. I mean, you can really do a better job sewing it yourself. And a lot of people ask me, is it more cost effective to sew your own clothes or go buy them? And my answer is, where do you buy your clothes? If you buy your clothes from Walmart, no, it's always going to be cheaper. But if you buy your clothes at even Kohl's or I Love, White House Black Market or any of those, upscale Chico's or any of those stores, it will be more cost effective to sew your own garments. And you can make things. I mean, this is a kimono. It was super easy, little class. I mean, what would this cost you in the store? I've got this poncho, cardigans, dress, shirts, pants. I mean, what would those cost you? And the benefit, of course, is you can sew things that you love with fabrics you love and styles that you love. So let's talk a couple things here. I'll show you. These are some of the fun decorative threads. And I'm going to be giving some of these away. So, of course, you guys know at the end of our show, we always do giveaways. So hopefully you have shared. If you haven't, go ahead and give me a comment or like or share our video, and you will be entered in to win some giveaways. And one of the giveaways is some fun threads. And these are this is called Snazzy Lock. It's made specifically for your sergers. And these can be threaded in your loopers. Now, if you don't know if you have an air threading machine, you have to thread them a specific way. And you can find out how to do that on Sue's website. So if we want to pull up Sue's website, she has got a great set of videos on her own website that show you how to do sewing in a round, decorative stitches, how to thread your machine. So if you click on how-to videos, there's a bunch of videos on there that are really, really great. And I encourage you guys to go on and watch those. Some are for serging, some are for cover hemming. Okay. And we use those in my class. I always want to send students home with a reference so that you can do things when you go home. This is the trim bin. Like I said, your serger fits on top of that, and all of your trash falls out here. You put a bag. So Babylocks don't have the trim bins, but we have these type of serger bins that you can sit your machine on and then use the trim bin. This was that vacuum pieces I was telling you about are great for sergers because sergers just get really, really messy, really dirty. Okay, we're about ready to wrap up our show. As you can see, Sue and I can probably talk for a couple hours all about sergers because we love sergers. But if there's any questions that we didn't answer, we will definitely try to jump on and answer those later. So we haven't forgot about you, but we just haven't been able to get to all of the questions. Okay. So Sue, we're ready to wrap up. I do want to show you some inspiration guides. Let me show you those real quick. So if you buy the Babylock Triumph or any of these Babylock machines, they have a inspiration guide, and this is a separate purchase, or talk to your dealer about throwing it in. It talks all about threading, but it talks about using different stitches, fabric, threads, feet, and guides. So this is a great book. It's an inspiration guide for all the different brands of the Babylock. And you can also get them for the Babylock sewing machines and embroidery machines. And then I also have this one. This is an accessory book. And when we do classes that are about using different feet, this is an accessory book, and it talks about using those 29 feet and guides that are available with these Babylock machines. So think about that, 29 feet and guides. The other thing I love about these sergers is it comes with a threading guide. And I wish every manufacturer would do this, but you can see all of the different thread sequences that you can do on this machine. So there's tons. Okay, Sue, so before we wrap up, any other things that you want to say?
Said we
Are
could
you
go
there?
on and on and on and on and just keep going. One thing that I would like to mention, because you showed those beautiful decorative threads, the 8-thread machines have what's called a bypass. If your thread is too big to fit in the air tube blow-through port, you can still use it. There is a decorative thread bypass. And I'm sure if you go in and take classes and stuff, we show it in the advanced class on my events, and I'm pretty sure that Candace shows it on hers too. So if you can get it through the looper hole itself, you can surge with it. But they do have decorative thread bypasses, and you don't go through the air system with it. You can
you can use rope and yarn, not super thick stuff, but some really fun stuff. So there's just so much you can do with the serger. Hopefully everyone has learned something new or just reinforced how much you love your serger. So let's talk about giveaways. Thank you, Sue, so much for being a part of this. And we are looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks in our serger event.
Yep.
All right, everybody give Sue some love. Bye, Sue.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, let's do some giveaways. We have our bag of bags. So this is a set of bags, and I believe there's 8 colors. We had one of our customers quilt and turn this bag into a small zipper bag. It looked so amazing. I mean, it was the greatest gift. And we might end up doing a class on that with using our bags. So like I said before, these make really great gifts. Put a present in here, put fabric. I think a fabulous gift is a cardigan. You only need small, medium, large, extra large, and make them a cardigan. That's a beautiful gift. So who's going to be our first winner that gets our bag of bags? So Kyle's going to give me a name. Maybe. So if any of you have won gifts before, definitely give us a holler if you haven't collected your gift. Okay, Jean Stutton, you are our winner of our bag of bags. So chime in, let me know that you're there. And if you're there, send us an email with your address to david@SewingMachinesPlus.com. I don't want you to put your address on Facebook, so definitely send an email so we keep that information private. Okay. So if you are a winner, definitely give us a holler. Let me know that you won. Okay. So do you have another name coming up for me? This is going to be a surprise colored mat. So we have these amazing mats, and they're in all different colors. This one happens to be the blue. This is the medium-sized mat, and this is perfect for your serger. Sergers have a tendency to vibrate a lot, and so this helps to absorb some of the vibration. So I would definitely encourage you to get a mat to go under your machine. So Terry Castell, congratulations, you won one of our mats. I don't know what color it is. It might be blue. It might be another color. But we have all these beautiful colored mats. It's going to be a surprise. Okay, Terry, so if you won, go ahead and let me know that you saw your name. And then give us a holler at the email, david@SewingMachinesPlus.com. So Terry, are you there? Or Jean? I see Jean. I'm here. Okay, Jean. Congratulations, Terry. Hi. Awesome. Thank you for joining us today. I'm so glad you got something. Okay. Now, who's going to get our fun threads? So give me another name, Kyle. This is our fun Snazzy Lock threads. And you can see, Debbie, you're going to win our Snazzy Lock threads. These are so much fun. They're made for the serger, but you can use them with other machines. On your sewing machine with a top stitch needle, it's heavy like a top stitch thread. You can see that I'm setting you up for Christmas with the green, red, black, and gold. So these are fantastic, and you're going to love to play with these. If you have a serger, definitely get some fun decorative threads. Okay, Debbie, so if you're there, let us know you're there, and then you're going to send an email to David. Okay, one more winner. All right, Debbie, congratulations. Thank you so much for joining us today. So this is a bag of sewing notions. I know that not all of you on there have sergers, so we want to give things that are applicable to everyone. So this is just some sewing goodies that I have. This is a mat that opens up, and so perfect for taking to classes or something you need to tuck away. And of course, with a mat, you always need a ruler. So when you're using mats and rulers, you're going to use a rotary cutter. So this is a little rotary cutter set. You've got the rotary cutter, the mat, and the ruler. So Kitty Golding, you are the winner of our Sewing Notions mat and rotary cutter set. So thank you so much, Kitty. Are you there? And each of these will come in a bag so that you will also get a bag to use. Grocery shopping, these are good, but I love to carry fabric and stuff in them. And they're just a perfect size to take with you no matter where you're going. So Kitty, if you're there, let us know and send an email to David. So all the winners, please send an email to David and let us know your address, and we'll get those all shipped out to you. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Hopefully you're enjoying these a little more casual tips and techniques, and we will see you next time. Thank you. You guys have a good day. Bye.